guys, it's me, 𝗲𝗲 Rainbow.
And I'm Renata from the 𝗲𝗍𝘆.
And welcome back to episode 32 of the 𝗫𝗍𝘆 podcast. In this episode, we are super duper excited to be finally giving our in-depth predictions for Eurovision 2024 ahead of the rehearsals. Now, some very exciting news is that the actual stand-in rehearsals have finally begun starting this week. So it's like rehearsals are beginning, but we don't know anything quite yet. So we're really getting into that at part of the season where we're going to start getting more information about the live performances and everything. But before we get all of that information, we want to give our predictions just based on the songs and based on the information that we have received from the pre-parties and everything like that. So it's going to be a very exciting episode. Last episode, we went over our personal tops, but these are not our personal tops. We're trying to be objective in this episode and give our objective opinions on the entries and how they will end up in the contest, which is very exciting. But of course, before we get into that, we want to give a shout out to our patrons. These are people who went over to patreon.com/𝗫𝗍𝘆 podcast and subscribed to get full access to the full-length video episodes a day early on Thursdays, ad-free, as well as some of the Patreon exclusive content that is over there. You also get song clips in the episodes. I gotta say, okay, I did hella editing in the last episode, and you're not going to see any of that unless you go and subscribe to the Patreon. So make sure you head over to the Patreon and subscribe and watch last episode if you haven't already. And of course, watch this one as well. But another benefit that you get when you subscribe to the Patreon is you get a shout out at the beginning of the episode, like the following people. So shout out to Danielle, 𝗲𝗍𝘆, Alistair, Russell, Shoegazer, Daniel, Kathleen, Suniva, Norbert, Jackson, Henny, Andrew, Elliot, Sana, and Liza. Shout out to all of y'all, and shout out to everybody who has been listening and watching the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, on YouTube, all of the above. Shout out to everyone. And of course,
shout out to everyone who is so nice in the comments, because actually people are really great in the comments. So keep up like that amazing energy down there, because I'm always like, oh, people are going to be mad. There's going to be drama, but it's always like everyone's so nice. And it's so great to see you guys all like giving your piece of the story here. But before we get into all of our predictions, I just want to do a quick plug. If you have not already followed me over on Instagram at 𝗲𝗍𝘆Pod, now is a great time to do that. Right now, my 𝗲𝗍𝘆 partner, Greg, has been releasing this awesome series of trading cards based on the artists for Eurovision this year. So he does all of these like drawing, like cartoon style. He's like super into comic books, like illustrative work and portraits of all the artists. And they're really cool. He's been releasing them one by one as we get closer and closer to the contest. So definitely go check out my page and also check out his page at 𝗏𝗏𝘅𝘆. He does tons of Eurovision artwork. So if you love artwork, you will love his stuff.
Yes, and he did our intro and all of the artwork for the podcast. So
yes, of course.
So
He
as
is
you
our
guys know, he's
visual
amazing.
identity. Yeah.
Yes. All right. So the way we are going to go about this is we are going to go by semifinal, song by song. We are going to talk about what we think the potential of those songs, how they will do. Will they qualify? Are they a sure non-qualifier? Do we feel like they're somewhere in the middle? What might they need to qualify? All those little things. So we're going to go song by song, and we're going to start with the first semifinal. And we're going to go in order of the running order. So opening up semifinal 1 is going to be Cyprus with 𝗤𝗟 𝗥𝗶𝗄's Liar. Now, for me personally, I am not sure where this song is going to land. There are some songs where I feel like no matter what their staging is, they're going to qualify. There are some songs that I feel like no matter what their staging is, they're going to non-qualify. This one I think really depends on how they're staging it, because she's got like a pretty solid live performance that we've seen from the pre-parties. But the dancing hasn't really, like there's certain elements of this, the visual identity of her performances so far hasn't really been ironed out, I feel like. But those were just, very unrefined settings. So we don't really know
Hmm.
what they have planned. And like Cyprus is one that can like a lot of times stage like the fuck out of their entries. So I mean, we saw it with Eleni Furera, like she was a NQer in the odds before the rehearsals.
Hmm.
So like she's literally the greatest example of that, where she jumped from NQ up to winner at one point in the odds. So we really don't know. That's how I'm feeling this with this one, because it's just kind of like a nooch song for me, in the middle kind of song. But yeah, I feel like it's a borderline qualifier, but I'm putting her on the lower end for me, like more likely to NQ.
So I think before the running order, which I just learned about like today or last
Which
night, because
has been
I did
out for a
not,
month. It's been
I
out for
am
a month.
I don't know how we never like talked about it before, like how it wasn't brought up as like a point of news, because I was literally like texting Max like, oh, we should talk about our like qualifier predictions, but like when are we gonna find out the running order? You're
I'm
like,
not gonna lie,
girl.
I didn't know it was out either.
Okay,
Once I
that's
saw it,
good.
I remembered because I saw a TikTok with I think it was with Colleen from, or no, it was, she did a TikTok with Sarah Bonici. And then I remember somebody captioned it like, oh, the two people opening up the semifinals or whatever. So then I was like, oh wait, I do remember seeing that. I do remember us having this information. But yeah, maybe it came out when we were like traveling or something.
But also, like, why hasn't people been talking about this like the whole time since it's been out? Because I feel like normally that always gets brought up, but it like somehow
Yeah.
wasn't. I don't know. Anyway, so before finding that out last night that the running order was out and that she was opening, I would have thought that she was borderline likely qualifier
Hmm.
because she does have like a pretty good like at least ability to sing and perform at the same time. So the thing that worries me about this is opening because the problem with opening is there is so much adrenaline that people feel when they open up a show. And it's really common that the first person who performs, you can tell that their vocal cords are getting like a little bit tight from the adrenaline because it will tense
Hmm.
up your vocal cords. And like even with uh 𝗲𝗍𝘆. I'm forgetting the singer's name, also from Cyprus.
Hmm.
Um
Elena Sagrino or
Cigar yeah,
so,
Cigaranu or something.
yeah.
Um you could tell when she opened the show, which I think was actually the final, that she didn't sound that great. And
Interesting.
yeah, this is something that I ever since I learned that your vocal cords tense up when you are like in high adrenaline situations, I've paid attention to that, specifically the people who open.
Oh.
Because that is like that has to be the most challenging aspect of like the running order is being the person who opens. I feel like maybe going at the end would be hard too because you have to listen to everybody else, but like there's like got to be a rush that happens at the beginning. I mean, even you feel it when you're in the audience watching. So, yeah, I think it's borderline. I agree with you, more likely to not qualify.
Do we think that she has potential to be like forgotten by the end? Because there are a lot of hard-hitting entries this year. And especially even like in the first half, we've got Ireland, we've got Ukraine, we've got Croatia, like there's a lot of, and like, I mean, Slovenia, Finland, like all these ones that have like really specific things that make them stand out. I feel like her being at the beginning, it's like, well, immediately anybody who likes girl bops, anybody who likes like that vibe is probably going to be able to find something later on that's done a little better. And
Yeah.
that'll stick in their mind more. So,
And this song in particular is like quite inauthentic and like underdeveloped. So that
mhm.
doesn't help it either, especially compared to some of these other things, which are like more on the conceptual end, where they've really been thought
Yes.
about a lot. Whereas this song was like handed to this girl after some lawsuit that happened in Greece last year.
Yeah, yeah. Well then, because then next we have Serbia with Teodora. And okay, this was one I actually like kind of struggled with putting as a sure qualifier versus a borderline for me personally, but I feel set on it being a sure qualifier. I know they put Serbia in the death spot, but Serbia's been in the death spot this is the third year that they've been put in the death spot. First of all, can somebody give Serbia a good running order? Um,
Uh, no, I'm glad you brought that up because I honestly have been feeling like looking at this, there's a lot of countries that are like in the same places that they've been in recently.
yeah. Like this is and so they and okay, just to veer off a little bit, they did just like make an announcement that a big change this year is that there's going to be like half of the entries are producer picks where they go, and then the other half will then get randomized.
I don't get it.
Okay. I mean, even more of a way to like, that's just, it's unfair for countries like Serbia that keep getting placed in these bad spots year after year. I mean, one year is one thing, but like 3 years in a row is becoming a problem. And especially because none of these times have they been songs that are like bottom of the odds, like no chance. Like, why would you put them in the death spot? Um, but I'm not really so much as worried for Ramonda because I feel like it stands out so much amongst everybody else in the semi. Yes, it's a slower song. Yes, it still has Greedo in the semi, which they're kind of like flipped because Greedo is second to last and they're second. But
Mm.
I still think they offer two different things for ballads, and it's not that there's not a place for two ballads to go through, right? And like they're kind of like the only other ballads, pretty much. So, um, I feel like she's got the international appeal. I feel like she's got the conceptualness of it, and I think she's going to stand out amongst everybody else. So I don't really, and her live, like we're not worried about her live. Like I know they're going to stage this beautifully. For me, I have this as a sure qualifier.
I think this is borderline. In fact, I would probably have it as a non-qualifier if it weren't for the fact that there's like tons of friendly countries in here. I mean,
Hmm.
Poland, Ukraine, Croatia,
That's
Slovenia,
true.
Moldova, like there's a lot of friends here in
Hmm.
this semifinal. So I think if anything, they'll be helped out by neighbors because it is all televote, obviously.
Hmm.
If there was a jury, honestly, I'd probably still have it borderline. This would be a shock qualifier for me potentially because I
Really?
just this actually, yeah, and Veronica, I don't feel are very accessible songs.
See,
So,
I think that this is way more accessible than Veronica because this one is going to appeal to those honest vocal coaches. This one's going to appeal to those locals that when they watch Eurovision, they are also fans of The Voice and The X Factor and they
mm,
love a good vocal showcase. Whereas even Portugal might be a little too dramatic and artistic. I think that this one is the most accessible of all those kind of ballad, maybe like of those three. Um, I think that this one's the one that is most accessible out of all of them. But
oh, interesting.
and it's got that like such compared to Veronica and Greedo, this one has that um hook in it that the other two kind of are missing that gets stuck in your head like song after song you might still remember that one and it's like the trick of even her TikTok song. I mean this song is kind of it's a reinterpretation of her TikTok song. Like they're in the same world, but it's that repeated thing over and over again that gets stuck in your mind. And so for the people that do like this vibe, it's going to really stick with them, I feel like. Whereas it's like we'll get to Veronica, but that's like an issue that I feel like it's missing. But
That's so funny because I feel like Greedo is the most accessible of those three songs we talked about. Mostly because I am not a person who likes ballads, and that song made me stop what I was doing and look at the TV.
mhm.
So, like thinking of like my own reaction to it as like a an example of a local, like someone who's
Mhm.
just there because like their friends are watching it and they're having drinks together where they're not really paying attention, but like something's really captivating about this one. About that one at least, Greedo, because we're not there yet. But yeah, I think I guess that's I found it very easy to get into Greedo, whereas with Ramonda, it absolutely has not clicked yet.
Yeah. I also, you're a fan of Honest Vocal Coach too. I
Mhm.
I watch her videos religiously, and she does have Serbia as her winner. So I'm not gonna lie,
Wow.
that does kind of like steer me in the way of hope that locals will understand it. And I'm not gonna lie, Honest Vocal Coach has influenced my opinion on another song that we'll get to in the semi.
Oh,
So
wow. Mhm.
um well then performing third is Lithuania, 𝗥𝗏𝘆 𝗨 And I have this as a sure qualifier. I feel like
Oh,
this
yeah.
is super accessible. It's got a good element of artisticness that will grab people's attention, and the people who can appreciate that will appreciate it. But it's also just a great pop song as well. I think he's going and perfect live performer, perfect live performer. I'm not worried about him at all.
Yeah, completely agree. This, if it did not qualify, would absolutely shock me.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's really, really fucking good. And all the performances at the pre-parties were spot on in the worst conditions. He's
Yeah.
really consistent and he's hot and his styling is good. And yeah, something really bad would have to happen for this to not go through.
Yes, yeah. Also, Lithuania has qualified through the worst conditions. When Lithuania qualified with that sun, that's when I knew they were that girl. With Monica Liu back in the day, everybody thought she had no fucking chance. And she said, you know what? Hell no. So I'm not worried. Um, then next performing in fourth place was Ireland with Bambi Thug, Doomsday Blue. Okay, there's the element in the back of my head that's saying this could be a shock and cure, right? But I do still feel in my heart of hearts that this is a sure qualifier. If they didn't qualify, it would be a shock because I think they're a sure qualifier. But I think that I think they're set. Of the witches, they are the witch that I feel like is going to stand out, like with Raven versus Bambi Thug. The people who like that, I think they're going to respond more to Bambi Thug. This one, this one, no matter where you put it, it's going to grab your attention. It's going to stay in your mind. If you like this style, there's only one person doing this kind of style of music in this entire competition this year. I just feel like all those elements, there's the fashion element, there's the like super duper artistic element to it that I think that, and it's so divisive. I just feel, but it's also not something that people can't appreciate because of the like really great visuals, because of the great fashion, because of the good vocals that Bambi delivers. Um, all those things are elements to it that I feel like even a local can appreciate that doesn't necessarily appreciate this style of music. Typically, they could appreciate it for those reasons. Um, so
Yes, I think this is like borderline in the sense that like I wouldn't be surprised if it did qualify, but I wouldn't be surprised if it didn't qualify either, because there's just a lot of factors that go
mm,
into this. And I think one factor too is the amount of controversy around this specific artist lately regarding comments and statements. Um, and like basically people who like Bambi Thug probably aren't going to be voting. I
mm,
think there's going to be, it's going to be interesting to see like if people do end up voting and spending money when there's a boycott happening. And I think the people
yeah.
who are most likely to boycott are also the people who would be most likely to like Bambi Thug.
Mm. But so that is a good point. What I always wonder is how much of stuff is like within our Eurofan bubble. And I know that they have a lot of press about it, but how much of that press is just local press? So those people would never be voting for them anyways. You know what I mean? That's what I always wonder is will the actual regular people watching actually know about all that controversy? You
I
know?
guess what I would think could happen is that enough like casuals will like it enough to vote for it, but that group of hardcore people would be enough to push it over the edge into
Mm,
qualification. And
hmm.
without them, I don't know if they can do it.
Okay. Yeah, I see that.
But I do think that if people pick up the phone because they really, really like 𝗵𝗵𝘆, they're also probable to also like Serbia and to like Raven potentially enough to vote for them. So
Mm.
like that's I could see them actually maybe helping each other out a little bit with qualification chances.
Yeah, like, oh, okay, I'm voting for this one. So let me toss another vote in for this one and another vote in for this one.
Yeah.
I see that. Well, then we have Ukraine, Teresa and Maria, Aliona and Jerry. Sure, qualifier. These ones are going through. These are potential winners. Okay, so Ukraine I mean, of course, also statistically, Ukraine has never not qualified.
Yeah.
This is not the year they're gonna end Q.
Definitely
This would
not.
not be the song to break that streak. So
No, that would be a shock.
yeah.
Big time shock.
Yeah.
Like, in fact, I expect Ukraine to be announced as like probably one of the first qualifiers because there would be nothing like really surprise. Like they're not going to draw out all the drama just to be like everyone's
Yeah.
gonna they're like, okay, well, when are you gonna call Ukraine? Because obviously they're getting through.
Yeah. And then we have your nation, Poland, and your winner, Luna, the tower.
Yeah.
I This pains me to say, I do feel like this is not gonna qualify. I feel like it's kind of like set in stone. Just based on that live performance we've been seeing I mean, the song was already being perceived by people as being very mid, and
Hmm.
with a not strong vocal on the horizon and just a not strong performance likely, I don't see how they could push this over the edge. And like honestly, Poland has sent great entries that haven't qualified before. So they don't have like a streak of just always going through. I mean, I think that some people's example is like, oh, last year everybody thought they weren't going to go through and then they did. But that was like, okay, well, she kind of performed that. Like she kind of ate that up a little bit in that performance. And I don't know if we really see that. And this song doesn't lend itself to like gimmicks also that Poland
Yeah.
sometimes likes to pull with their staging. So I don't really know what they could do to bring this one to the final.
Yeah, unfortunately, I agree with you on pretty much all of that, even though that's not what I want to see happen. Um, I do think she might not be well right now because
Hmm.
she did
Yes, I
cancel
did see
some
that.
appearances. Um, so I mean, maybe it's just to protect herself and get stronger for performing, but unfortunately, I just don't know if it's going to be like enough for people. Obviously, I love it. It'll still be my winner. Um, at least, at this point, I'll have to choose a winner if it doesn't make it into the final. Um, there is one thing going for her though, and that is again like neighbor proximity.
Mhm.
Ukraine, Croatia, Slovenia, Ireland, even though they're not next to each other. Do you realize how many fucking Polish people live in Ireland? They're a plague
Really?
over there. Yes. Oh my God. Yeah. They're like all over the place. Seriously.
I mean, that makes
Um,
sense.
you're gonna have little 𝗥𝗶𝘆𝘆𝘆𝘆𝑐𝑠 running around and shit.
I don't know.
Um,
I don't know what the fuck that means, but it sounds funny. Um,
I just put an O in front of a Polish name, a really common
oh,
Polish name. um,
oh, that's funny.
uh, so I
Yeah.
mean, there will be people who like maybe diaspora will help out a little bit, but maybe that wouldn't be enough to help them go over because it is not something that's particularly borderline. Unless if it qualifies, I'll be shocked and happy and over the moon.
Yeah. Yeah, I would be too, because I do love this song. Then we have Croatia, baby lasagna, rim tim tagidim. This one's a sure qualifier, I feel like. Um, I mean, they are a potential winner. And this is televote bait. This is a televote bait song, and in a televote only semi, this is going through.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's kind of like a favorite in the odds right now. So if it didn't qualify, that would be the shock of the fucking century.
Yeah, like when was the last time us like It was first place in the odds. Now it's second, but it's been standing strong. Like they're pretty close in percentages still. When has someone that high in the odds NQ'd? When was the last time that happened? Like a very long time ago. It was very long.
Wait,
You know
who,
when it was? It was
when?
Vampires Are Alive.
Oh
That
no.
was the last time a winner in the odds NQ'd. So,
Horrible. You're bringing up horrible, horrible
but
memories.
you know
As
what?
world's
Shout out
biggest
to them.
vampire stan. Um, yeah. Oh my God, love DJ
I was like, oh
Bobo.
my God, they were number one in the odds. That's kind of
It's the
wild.
songs of fucking slay. That's why.
Oh.
Yeah, that would be just shocking if for some reason Croatia didn't get through.
Mhm.
But who's first in the odds right now?
Now it's Nemo or Nemo.
Oh, duh, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's right. I knew that.
Yes. But then we have Iceland, Hera Bjork, Scared of Heights. I think this is a surefire NQer. And I mentioned Honest Vocal Coach. So this is what solidified this for me because I did always feel this way. But there was always, the thing in the back of my mind where I was like, well, this is, I mean, honestly, it's a well-produced song by Katy, like one of Katy Perry's producers, a big name producer. It's like a decent pop song. She's been to Eurovision before. She has the Zionists on her back a little bit. No, but I thought, okay, maybe there's room for her to squeeze her way through. But then I watched Honest Vocal Coach's reaction, whom I usually consider like a local, like, and within the demographic that I would imagine if anybody was to appreciate this song, would
Hmm.
appreciate it. She put Hera Bjork last.
Shut
She
up.
hate I Everybody else she had positive things to say about. She had nothing good to say about this song. And she kind of pointed out in her reaction that I didn't even notice how bad her vocal was throughout that performance, how she never hit the note. And she was
I've
like,
gotta I gotta check out this video. I need to hear what Queen Georgina has to
it
say
was
about this song.
so entertaining. Oh my God. And yeah, so I thought, oh, she put her dead last behind Bambi Thug, behind, people that we all know she wouldn't like.
Hmm.
She put Hera Bjork last. So I think, oh God, that was your demographic, girl. Hera, if you're not hitting the Georginas, then you're not hitting anyone.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, so the song might be called Scared of Heights, but she's got nothing to worry about because she's not going to go very high up in the scoreboard over here. Um, yeah, definitely not qualifying.
Yeah.
It's like honestly, like this song would have a hard time qualifying through the Andra Johnson round of Melfest.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It should have had a hard I mean, it did actually have a hard time qualifying through its national selection to the final, but anyways, we move on
Yeah.
from that. Um then we have Slovenia with their song Veronica by Raven. And unfortunately, this one is very borderline. I really don't know what the way this is going to go at all. I think that she has the vocal chops to deserve to qualify. She 100% will deserve to qualify based on whatever performance she brings. We know it's going to be amazing. We know it's going to be flawless. It's probably going to be staged beautifully because
Hmm.
Raven just has such clear creative direction with everything she does. But unfortunately, the song is just really not very accessible. And what it is missing is it's really missing because Ireland is pretty inaccessible in that sense that it's not a normal genre. But it's missing that big thing to really grab you and pull you in if that's your thing. I feel
Hmm.
like people will go for more Ireland, will even go for more oh well, I guess they're not in the semi, but like I'm comparing ones that are similar. Like if you're going for the ballads, you'll go for more Serbia or even Portugal. If you're liking the artistic, witchy fashion, you're gonna go for more Ireland. Like there's just people that she's never going. Always the bridesmaid. A little bit
Hmm.
is what I'm worrying for Slovenia. Um, but I think they will deserve to go through. I think probably in my personal qualifiers they would be in there, but I just don't know if they're going to be able to really push it over the edge to get through.
Yeah, I would definitely have this one as a borderline. I think it's probably closer to a borderline non-qualifier. Um,
Mhm.
because also like the thing is you have to look at the song that's coming right after it, which is Finland. And we
Mm.
have already seen Finland just
Oh,
completely
that's
wipe the slate clean of everything
mhm.
you've watched before you've watched this, especially if you're watching it for the first time. I think it's
Mhm.
definitely one that wears off on you the more that you see it. Like even the second time that we saw it in the arena that day, it was not as exciting as the first time that you saw it. Like it's all
Mhm.
about shock factor.
Mhm.
So, I don't think it's good for them that they got put right before Finland.
Yeah. And also with Veronica in the same breath, I've found the issue of this song being a beautiful experience when I'm watching it, but immediately forgetting it after the fact.
That happened to me in my reaction video. People were very mad at me because afterwards I said like, okay, that was nice, but I feel like I don't remember the song. Like it went in one
Mhm.
ear and out the other. And they were like, oh, fuck you. But uh that's how it is. So I'm glad that someone else had that experience, or at least
And
is
I
willing
love
to
it.
admit
I
it.
love the song, but
Yeah.
it's just it is a good experience in the moment, but it's I mean, yeah, there's just something about it that's a little bit forgettable. And so because it's not in the like last five, last three, like it's not at the very end, it's truly in the middle of the running order, and it has some heavy hitters coming behind it. Not actually that many heavy hitters, actually, now that I'm looking at it, but it's got new roles or no roles immediately after.
Yeah.
That's gonna be hard. And it's got a ballad coming after. Even if it was the last ballad that we heard, that might help it. But then we have no roles, Finland, and I think this is a surefire qualifier.
Yeah.
This is televote bait to the T. This
Yeah.
is going to be exciting. This is going to be the first time a lot of these people are going to see this. And what I also think is exciting is that this is not good, but it's also kind of good, is that it seems like Eurovision's putting a lot of restrictions on this performance. Or there's potential restrictions. There's already like the censoring of the logo, but then apparently there's this whole thing about him appearing nude that might not be allowed at all, which is kind of like the whole shtick of the song
And
or
that's
of the
dumb as
performance.
fuck. If that was a rule, it would have been like, okay, obviously, clearly that breaks a rule. And they would have said that shit right off the bat, just like they did with the logo on his shirt.
Hmm.
Because it's like, if it takes you 2 months to decide that it's actually breaking a rule, when there's other broadcasters who are blatantly breaking rules and shit ain't happening to them, but we're worried about nude illusion underpants when Chanel's ass was out.
Well, yeah, because that's T. Because I'm sorry, just tell the broadcasters they have to allow it. Like y'all did with Ireland in their gay scene. Just be like, bitch, you got to deal with it. That it's the EBU girl. If you
And
want to
he's
be on the
not
EBU, then
actually
you accept it.
naked. It's not,
Yeah,
he is not
like,
naked.
and it's not even like I don't know, like you can see the underpants. It's not like they do some sort of allusion to like I don't know,
Yeah,
like
it's
it. But what I'm saying with that is if they are having to make changes to the performance or whatever, it's exciting in the sense that maybe there's going to be. And honestly, we saw it with Finland last year, though. I don't think we can expect the same performances we saw. I'm hoping that it's going to be even something new and exciting and fresh for us that have been watching it for a few months now, you know? So,
thinking about it, like if they had to make a change, like they could literally just put him in a red Speedo. And
mm,
like Europeans fucking wear Speedos because actually it still would be funny if he's like wearing red Speedos on the stage. Because really
yeah.
the point is the shorts being put on.
Hmm.
So like if the problem is that it makes him
If
look
it's just,
naked, then just
mhm.
don't have him be naked and he's just running around the stage in underpants.
Yeah, because who even wears shorts without underpants on? Like, it makes
Especially
sense.
George, your balls are
Yeah,
gonna be
like
hanging out
something's
the
gonna pop
side.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, that's for sure going through. But moving on to Moldova in the middle, Natalia Barbu. I think this is an NQer. The only thing in my head that's wavering is just the fact that Moldova tends to turn it out in
Mm-hmm.
the end.
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't think this song has it in her. I don't think it does. I think that this song needed a revamp and they haven't done it. I think that this okay, the ones where they did that with was like, okay, Do Re Dos, that was still a good song. That was still a good song. It was a bad performance in the national final. This is a bad song, right? That's the issue. It's not like the low qualityness of the national selection is what we're upgrading to. No, it's just not a impressive or good song at all. Um, so I don't see any world where this goes through.
So I have this as actually a borderline qualifier. And the reason is because, first of all, neighborly friendships, Ukraine and Poland are in this.
Yeah.
Croatia, yeah, same thing. It's kind of the Balkan bloc of
Mhm.
the semifinals. But okay, so I find myself, even though I do not like this song, just randomly being like, and remember how they had some idea with like 10 bitches that look exactly the same, playing violins together. And like, I think, like you said, they have a habit of like blowing things up real big once they get up onto the stage. So this is going to be one that, like, and we don't know that they don't have a revamp because sometimes they do just come out and then have like different versions of their songs,
Yes, but
right? Like,
like yes, but we do have the official versions of the songs that are on the official album, which is usually the sign, like, for example, Theodore Andre, like, that's when we knew that they revamped the song was because the official album came out and they had that weird acoustic bit put in
oh,
it.
yeah.
And there's also like you learn how much backing tracks people are using from the karaoke's because the karaoke that we get is like what they're planning to do in Eurovision. So, um, I feel like we didn't get a revamp from that, so I don't see it coming, but maybe there is. I mean, that's not to say they don't do that, but usually if there was a revamp of significance, it would be
Well,
in
because
that.
like Chanel had a revamp where like they quite dramatically changed some parts of it, like made it like really quiet and but was that on the I think it's called like the dance edit or something.
Yeah,
Or am I
dance break
making this
version.
up? Dance break version.
Yes, but they use that still in the national selection. So we had that for the whole season. Like we knew that they were doing that. So
Did we? I feel like
yeah.
there was something different about maybe I'm just not remembering very well because actually I did have COVID at that year.
You
Not at
know,
that Eurovision, but when
no, they
Eurovision was
definitely
happening.
had to. I feel like they had to. Now you're making me waver, but
Because I
I'm
felt
standing
like
strong.
there was some kind of like a cattle horn thing at the beginning that got added that wasn't there before
They did
and
do that. They did do that, I think. There was a it wasn't the whole dance break. They definitely had that dance
but
break in there.
what I'm saying though is it doesn't have to be like a full but like if they
Hmm.
even just add in some other elements that make this a little bit more interesting, like I
Hmm.
think it has a chance. I am not counting this one out yet, even though I don't really like the song, but it's catchy as fuck.
Hmm. Okay. I don't see it for me. Um, but then we move on to Australia. Okay, Australia Electric Fields. I I feel like this is a borderline, unfortunately, although hmm, I feel like okay, some of these is like it's borderline in my opinion because I feel like, well, I think I'm gonna change my opinion. I think it's a sure qualifier. Because
Yeah, me too.
you know what? Hello? Why am I going against everything I've been saying this whole time on this damn podcast? Their live performance is fucking amazing. They are truly, their name is Electric Fields. They come alive. They become electric on that damn stage. They're going to bring everybody, like, they are going to have everybody singing this damn song. It's a catchy, good song. They are an
Hmm.
amazing live performer. If Australia qualified last, if Australia qualified last year, if Australia has qualified with Sheldon Riley, which shout out to I love Sheldon,
I love
but
him. Yeah,
so
same.
that's not meant to be
Sheldon
shade, but
stands.
like like if this one's going through. Although in my fantasy, Montaigne should have gone through, and there was no way that so. But I think this one's going through.
Well, and the circumstances with Montaigne were
Yeah.
very weird. Um, Yeah, I also think this one's going through. This song is great. It's an extremely accessible song. And it also has, I mean, it has the love, love, peace, peace aspect to it that people do like. Like
Mm-hmm.
casual viewers also really like that kind of message. It's towards the end of the show.
Yes.
And when
Yeah.
I've been listening to it lately, like I listen when I drive. And when I drive, I like think like I like imagine things a lot because driving is boring. And I like when this song plays, I can like imagine like the swooshing camera angles and crazy
Mm-hmm.
LEDs and like I don't know, I can just feel that this one is gonna come across really, really well on TV.
Yeah. Yeah. And Australia knows how to stage too.
Yes.
So that shouldn't be something I'm worried about. Well, then we have Portugal, Greedo, Yolanda. Um, okay, I have this one borderline for me because to me, this one has gets lost in the mix for me personally. This one gets lost in the mix, and although I love it, um, it's just not one I can say I feel confident that it's going to go through, although I think it deserves to go through. Although I think that she has a lot of things working in her favor, like coming second to last in the running order. Um, but I think ballads are always wishy-washy, especially in a televote only semi. I think if juries were here, we would not have to worry. But I think
Mm.
it being televote only and them being Portugal makes it, we're not sure. But honestly, they made it through last year, so hmm. But
I
also Spain's not voting in this, and that's their neighbor, so
oh, that could hurt. Wait, who is voting in this?
so it's the UK, so that will help for Bambi. It's
Yeah.
Germany and Sweden. And Sweden might help for Bambi too. Who knows?
Yeah.
So,
Interesting. So yeah, I do think this one will qualify, and I think that that grabbing factor that at least I experienced with it, that will also really help it being towards the end because
mhm.
people like when the recap comes up, they're gonna remember like, oh yeah, that one was really nice. So this one would
Yes.
be a borderline Q for me. If it didn't qualify, I wouldn't be shocked necessarily. But I do think it has like you said, a great benefit of being a little bit later in the show.
Mhm.
Also, something about this song is that it is in the native language.
Mhm.
And I think that will help it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then we have Luxembourg, Fighter by Tally. Now, if you asked me a few weeks ago before the pre-parties, I would have said this is for sure going through, to be honest. And I think I said that in the podcast in episodes prior. Now I'm feeling this is an NQer. This is one that is hard for me to imagine it going through with what we've been seeing from her performances, with what we've been seeing, the visual direction they're going. I think they're going like too risky, not risky. It's
It's
too
edgy.
it's too edgy for what it is. Yeah, it's like not it just doesn't and then it's I don't think it's going to click for other people in their minds either. I feel like this is one where I feel like it was lucky it won its national selection to get through. And so I feel like with all the amazing performers that are performing before it, this coming last is going to be very, like, oh, really? This is all y'all got? Like it's going to feel underwhelming after seeing all of those everything else. Um yeah.
So I think this is like a borderline qualifier, actually, based on the fact that in the national selection, we did get to see a pretty close approximation to like size of Eurovision stage, level
Hmm.
of production. We're like, okay, with Moldova, we have no fucking clue what this could look like on the big stage because we've
Hmm.
only seen it in like their crappy like gym auditorium thing that they film in. Whereas with this, like, we know that it's going to be really slick.
Yeah.
Like they really had it down. Like it convinced people enough to make it win. So coming last, being,
Yeah,
slick. Also, if I feel like it's been out for a while, like it was chosen pretty early.
that's true.
So she's like been practicing for a long time. And like, yes, the pre-party situation, but just because people are flopping on pre-parties doesn't always mean they're not going to pull through on the
Hmm.
stage. And I mean, I think the personal level was not great for her because like people in the crowd were not singing along or moving. I think she
That's
was maybe
true.
booed in the Netherlands. That's
Oh,
not going to be happening with the Eurovision stage because like it's so big and like the context is so different. It's not like
yeah.
looking at an auditorium of people at a regular concert. Like you're you're like on a really big fucking stage at Eurovision with a bunch of cameras in your face.
Yeah, that's true. I think you convinced me on that one. I let the pre-parties change my view. But you're right. Why should I let that when I've seen what they can do on the big stage? And that was really good. Um, and I like the song. I actually been listening to it. It's one of my most listened to ones right now. So like, but
I
yeah,
don't like it. I would prefer if it didn't qualify,
I mean,
but
me
I
too.
do think there's a chance that it's going to.
I would prefer it didn't qualify in some sense, but I also would love it to qualify because I would like Luxembourg to stay in, and I think if they qualify, then they have a better chance to stay in the competition for next year. Um,
Yeah.
but I don't know. But I'll agree with you on that one. So that's semifinal one, our predictions, and then we move to semifinal two. So opening up the show, we've got Malta, 𝗂𝘅𝘅𝘆 loop. Now, if you watched our last episode, you'd know that this is in my top 10. So I would love for this one to qualify. I think this one is a borderline too surefire non-qualifier. I think I'm being generous with saying it's a borderline because I love it so much and I think it deserves to go through. But I think realistically speaking, Malta is one of those countries that, like, in my brain, I like to tell myself, oh, if it's a good song, if it's a good performance, like, it'll go through, it'll be good. Like, those, those people that it's like, oh, Malta just never does well in the televote. Well, maybe it's just that they never have a song, but no, I don't know what it is about Malta. They really just be flopping hard every single time in the televote. Um, And unfortunately, I don't know if this song if it has that extra special thing to like make it a sure qualifier, right? Because even, okay, with Destiny Chukwuniere, she was number one in the odds.
Mm.
Like, I forget that she was literally number one. She was the winner in the odds. So with that, it's like, okay, well, her getting a few places lower was the shocking aspect. But Miss 𝗂𝘅𝘅𝘆 already low in the odds. She's already not set as a qualifier. She's already being forgotten when it comes to those conversations. And then you have the added aspect of it being Malta working against you. Um, I think it should go through. I think she deserves it. I think that she's going to put on a show. She's going to put on a performance that will be deserving of a qualification. But I also feel like I fear this is going to be our tick tock. This is going to be our girl bop that just
Oh, yeah,
gets
the our
stuck
girl
in the
flop.
semis. Yeah,
Um,
our Greta, what's her name? Greta from Iceland. Greta Thunberg. What is her name? From 2016. Greta
oh,
Salome.
oh.
I fear she's gonna suffer the same fate.
So sorry. So I think that this is more likely to be a borderline qualifier. And I think something is interesting to me that we have Malta, Albania, and Greece all at the start of the
Hmm.
show. And like we talk a lot about like partner voting or neighbor voting. And uh Malta's not necessarily neighbors with all of them, but they're all
Mm,
Mediterranean.
hmm.
And I think it's going to be very helpful because people who are in Albania and Greece, they're gonna know that their song is coming on first, so they'll be watching. So
Mm,
they'll also be seeing the song from Malta and maybe think like, oh, I'll throw that a vote because they're actually likely to see it. Like if you're an Albanian, you're going to make sure you're watching at the beginning of the show so that you can see Albania. If you're Greek, you're going to make sure you're watching at the beginning so you don't miss Greece.
mm.
I don't know. That's kind of what I'm thinking with that, that it might like be helpful that those two countries are right there next to her.
And maybe, I
Um,
mean, hey, I don't really think they have any patterns of voting together, but Italy is in this, so that's they're voting in
uh,
this. So they're, another Mediterranean one. Spain's voting in this one. They're on the sea, so like maybe.
yeah, yeah. I'm not counting it out.
Yeah, I'm not counting it out, but I am worried. I am worried.
Mhm.
But somebody that I honestly am counting out is Albania. 𝗣esse Titan. Unfortunately, I just see no world in which this qualifies. I think that this is just I think I love 𝗣esse. I don't mind the song, but it really has nothing about it that would make it vote for anybody to vote for it. I think that anybody who likes this style of music is going to be able to find their better match with
Yeah.
another country. And I just don't see it working for Albania.
Yeah, I agree with that. There's just not enough with this song
And even
to
being mixed between Malta and Greece is like,
I don't think it will help because both Malta's songs and Greece's song are much better than Titan.
yeah, it's going to be better. Like Malta's going to put on a better performance. They're both bops. Like they're going to like, yeah. I
Yeah.
said Malta, but Malta and Greece, they're both going to put on better performances. They're going to put on a
Hmm.
bigger show, like a bigger show. It's going to be more extravagant. It's going to be grab your attention way more than Titan is. And it's just like the song. It's what she delivered in the national selection. It's just and Albania doesn't have a good history also
Yeah.
with that. So yeah. But then we move to Greece. Zari, Marina Sati, and this is going through. I think this is a potential winner. I think that this is, you know, there's no chance this would end Q.
Right now, this is the only song that I see as a competition winner.
Mm. Like right now is in the songs we've gone through so far.
I no, I mean like in general. Like to
Oh
me,
wow.
this is like clearly the song that should win. It's
Yeah.
Greece's time. It's the right moment for a song like this. I've said from the
Hmm.
beginning, this song sounds too good for Eurovision.
Yeah.
Like it, I feel like this is going to be one that like transcends, goes viral for
Hmm.
me.
I hope so. Um, well, then we have Switzerland, Nemo, which I did learn it's meant to be Nemo, not Nemo, but the code. I think this is a sure qualifier. This is number one in the odds. Like I said back with Croatia, the likelihood of a song number one in the odds and queuing is really, really low. And then also we know that their live is going to be good. We know it's going to be well executed. So if people are liking it now, I feel like they're going to, and we haven't gotten to see it on a big, big stage, but I feel like, I think looking at the odds, there's no chance this would NQ.
So, like you had said, like what are the odds of another song being first in the odds and then NQing? But what are the odds of a song from Switzerland being first in the odds and then NQing? So
You
hear
know
me
what?
out. Hear me out. I think that this is going to be the shock non-qualifier of the year.
Oh my God.
Um, and the reason is because like I think there's so many elements to this song and like there might be people who are really super into it when they see it and they like know that they're going to vote for it, but I think there's
Hmm.
going to be a lot of people that just don't get it.
Hmm.
And um the clips that they take are very short that they use for the recap. And
Yeah,
because
this
this
one's
song
hard.
has so which element do you choose? Which is the one when you are the fourth song of the night? Which part of that song? Because there are probably four different type of style parts that you could choose. Which one do you choose for that clip? That could like make or break this one's qualification chances.
Yeah, but I also feel that way about 𝗲𝗏𝗄𝗧 too, because when I'm editing these videos, right? And so I'm selecting like usually a 10 to 15-second clip to use in our videos. And those two songs are ones I always have trouble deciding what spot to pull from. Because
Mm.
𝗲𝗏𝗄𝗧 also has that where it's, it goes from one really dramatic thing to another thing. And so,
But with 𝗲𝗏𝗄𝗧, they're dramatic, but they're cohesive. Like where they sound like they still sound like the other parts of the song. Like there's parts of Nemo's song that sound like he's singing opera and he's rapping.
yeah, but I don't think they're going to pick either of those. I
Which
think
part do
they're
you think
just
they'll
going to pick
pick?
I've been through hell and back. I think they'll maybe pull
Um,
one last little moment of the like, oh, and then I've been like maybe if they want to include that, but I think they'll just do the I've been through hell and back. I think that's what they'll pick. That's what I've always picked when I'm choosing it for the recaps. I think that makes the most
mm,
sense. Um, but and it's also the most accessible part of the song. So
yeah.
I think that's what they'll do. And it's kind of like that's the end of the song. That's like the big moment. So I'm not
Yeah, we'll
worried.
see.
Switzer.
We'll see. I think that this song is not going to have the super wow result that
Also,
so many
I'm
fans
so
are
sorry.
expecting.
I'm so sorry though. If Rainbow qualified last year, I, that would kill me
See, the
if
thing is
if
though, is
Rainbow
it's
qualified and Nemo didn't.
sometimes it's hard to make comparisons though because wasn't Ramo in the really weak semifinal?
Maybe.
It's not like I don't think Ramo was like fighting for his life over there.
Hmm. Yeah, and I will say, looking at if you look at my colors right now, there were a lot less surefire NQers in this one.
Yeah.
Like this one is a lot more open, but I still think that they're ending up top. Like I still think this is a potential winner. So
And
um
maybe it will be, but
yeah.
yeah.
Well, from one potential winner to one of Renata's former winners, we've got 𝗥𝗏𝗄𝗧, Aiko, Pedestal. I think this is a surefire NQer. Unfortunately, she has just been unable to deliver us a solid live performance this whole time. I haven't been seeing the visual identity of this song yet. It's just, yeah, I don't see it working for 𝗥𝗏𝗄𝗧, unfortunately. Unfortunately, because I do love the song.
Yeah, I agree with you. This one is not making it through. There's just not enough. Like I can't come up with an argument for the world where this gets through.
Yeah. Yeah. Because the other thing is too, like, I feel like what it appeals to is that angsty, like people who love Olivia Rodrigo, people who like
Mhm.
Paramore, people who like that angsty girl style, but it's also like not necessarily the most current sound right now. It's not necessarily like the thing that like maybe if it was a few years ago. Do you remember in 𝗥𝗏𝗄𝗧's national selection a few years ago? Running out
Running
of
out of
fucking
fucking
time.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
If
so good. Oh,
if
that
that
song is
had come
amazing.
out, that was the year when that would have
Yes.
been the time to do that style. But anyways, still listen to that song. It's still great. That was a great year for 𝗥𝗏𝗄𝗧 in general for their national section. Anyways, um, then we have Austria, Kayleen, We Will Rave. I think this is a shock and cure. And I hate to say it because y'all know I love it, but I'm really starting to realize this girl's really struggling to perform this song. And the other thing I'm worrying is now watching, today I watched, she had like a send-off performance, like a send-off party sort of thing where I guess it was like before she left to go to rehearsals. And even in that, it was like kind of rough. And she was doing the same choreo that she's been doing in every single pre-party and I'm worried because I'm like, wait a second. Something about seeing that just in like a little office setting was like, ooh, wait, this choreo is not really even giving. Like, I'm worried. I'm like, is this the choreo we're using for Eurovision? I hope not, because none of this is giving at this point. I love the song, but I am starting to get worried. I'm hoping that girl got heavy backing tracks and is mostly dancing the whole time, which she did say she might be doing. So that's what I'm hoping for at this point. My confusion is just like we've seen you in stand-ins always kill it. Like
Hmm.
she killed Fuego, she killed Sara Alto. Like I'm confused. I'm like, so that's what there's like that redeemable factor in the back of my brain whereas I'm like, well, we actually technically have seen you on the Eurovision stage many times do like perform very well. So maybe I'm just worried.
Yeah, I actually believe that this is not qualifying. So I don't even say that it's like a shock NQ because I would not be shocked if this did not qualify. I think it would be right for it not to qualify. I don't think this is a good song. I feel like something is very like fake about it.
But see, you loved it the first time you heard it.
I did love it the first time I heard it, but that's because at that point I was like excited just about the fact that like, oh, there is something a little bit like more electronic. The thing about that is like we have
Mm,
𝗲𝗄𝘅𝘆, which is
mm,
an authentic
yeah.
song. And I think that the thing about Kayleen's song is that it will appeal to like it's made to appeal to like older, like younger, middle-aged people like me, but it doesn't feel authentic enough to like get us to vote for it. And I think it's too like it's just not interesting enough for maybe younger people to vote for it either. I don't know. I don't think that this is a good song, and I don't think that Europe is gonna want to spend money to vote for this song.
I think this one depends a lot on staging too, and I'm scared for Austria, girl. What did they do last year? They low-key killed a great song with bad staging. So who the hell
Who
is
was last
Edgar?
year? Oh yeah, that's right.
So like I don't know.
So
I'm
I
worried.
mean,
She needs to drop this move. She needs to drop that move now. The head banging, she needs to drop it. The one with what? She looks ridiculous when she does that.
yeah, okay. So even thinking about like you said, who the hell is Edgar last year? Who the hell is Edgar was a very interesting song.
Hmm.
This is not interesting.
I still hope it goes through, but then we have Sand by Saba, Denmark. And I feel like this one's very borderline. I'm on the side of borderline NQ. The only thing, well, though, I will say I'm looking at other countries in this that have ballads that are for sure going through. Because I was gonna say, oh, maybe this could be the Alika of this semi. But then I'm thinking, oh, well, there's a ballad in here that we know is going through. And so Miss Sand. I don't know. I feel like this one's very borderline. This one is it could go either way. But I just feel like this one's not really interesting enough. I also felt that way about Bridges. I thought, oh, only the juries would appreciate that. And
Mm.
and obviously it there's a group of people that love that kind of music. But I'm not that
Is Sweden
demographic.
voting in this semi?
No, they're voting in the last one.
No, that's too bad for Denmark because Sweden
Yeah.
does like these kind of like uninteresting songs like this.
Yeah. This one's
Um,
France, Italy, and Spain. So
oh, France might vote for it. Um,
maybe.
maybe, but it's not like not that it would like necessarily draw them. Too bad they're not voting in first one that would help Tolly out. Um, I think this is a borderline non-qualifier. It's really just not that interesting, and we haven't really seen much like out of Saba either, like at the
Yeah.
pre-parties. So
Yeah.
if it qualified, I would be really surprised.
Yeah, and honestly, I do remember feeling like watching one of her live performances and even feeling like the live wasn't really that impressive to even consider it to be kind of shaky. And so, like, that's the thing. Alika, we never saw that. Alika was like,
Mm,
that was that kind of performer where she could sing any song. But the thing about her is even if you're not one of those people that like cares about vocals, you watch that and you go, oh wow, though. Like she is
yeah,
amazing. This one's not that. So like,
yeah.
yeah. Well, then we have Armenia, Yako, Ladaniva. I think this is a sure qualifier. I think that this is the type of song that's going to resonate with so many people. I think that this is like also another song that is very televote friendly. I feel like people love the kind of cultural language, like national language, all of that. They're gonna love that. Um, they also okay. I don't really like. Does Georgia normally vote for Armenia? I don't really know relations of countries, but Georgia's in this, so I don't really know if how that works.
Yeah, I'm not
But
sure about those two.
yeah, but either way, I don't think it matters. I think Armenia's chilling. I think they have no worries.
Yeah, Armenia's going to be really good because they do tend to kind of knock it out of the park anyway. So I don't have any worries about this one at all.
Yeah. And we have Latvia, Dawn's Hollow. Okay, this one I'm not sure. I want to say it's an NQer, but at the same time, I do feel like there's almost something that's more accessible about this song. So, like, the reason why I want to say it's an NQ is that everybody loved Sudden Lights. Oh, also because Latvia's on like a 7 or 8 year
Yeah.
streak of NQing. So it's like realistically, if you're placing your bets, this isn't an outstanding song that I would imagine would break that curse. But at the same time, maybe what they need is just a good, powerful male ballad that will, those ones always seem to sneak through. They always are the ones that I don't think deserve to go through and do end up going through. So maybe this will be the one. It will kind of kill me if like this is the entry after all those years. Like they didn't qualify with Eat Your Salad. They didn't qualify with That Night. They didn't qualify with Sudden Lights. They didn't qualify with Line, but they qualify with the egg. But maybe we're eating egg salad over in
Mm,
Latvia.
yeah. Well, I think that there's a chance for this to be that final like break in the qualification streak because the thing about like Eat Your Salad and um the Sudden Light song, Aya, is like those were a little bit more like well, Sudden Light's definitely very alternative, like they're an alt rock band. But even Eat Your Salad was kind of more of like a little out of the box
Hmm.
type of a thing. Whereas this is not really out of the box, it's highly accessible. He's a good performer. Um, and I think you said Italy is voting. We know they love a male ballad over in
Mm-hmm.
Italy.
That's true.
So that might help him out a little bit. And I feel like, I don't know, when we think about like the other male ballad in here being Belgium, I
And
see,
technically France. France will be performing because
oh,
we have to remember they are
reforming. Yeah.
performing in the full length. They're performing. So
Yeah. But as far as voting is concerned, like I think Hollow is going to be a lot better than
I think
before the
so.
party is over.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I
I
feel like
agree.
people might think Moosey is annoying during his performance, but they're not going
Whereas
to think Dawn's is he's very
Dawn's is
charismatic.
charismatic. Yeah. Yeah. I agree. Well, then we move to San Marino and we've got Magada. This is one that I have as borderline. I do feel like this really depends on how they stage it because truly I do truly believe this will go through if we are getting Megara in Benidorm Fest 2023.
Hmm.
2023. I do believe if we're getting that level of staging, if we're getting that level of costume, if we're getting that artistic vision, that we got in 2023 from Magada, I think this will go through because we don't have a rock song. Well, but they're very different. Because I was gonna say, well, maybe Norway appeals to that a little, but it's a totally different thing, right? So, but they have a demographic of people, and honestly, the rock fans are really not eating good this year. There's not much rock this year, so
Yeah.
this could really appeal to that demographic. And if we get the artisticness, like we're gonna get the gays involved, like and the girls, like if we get the fashion, we get the looks. I'm worried because we have really yet to see that yet with 𝗥𝗏𝗯 this year, but we know it's within them. We have seen them do it before. So I'm really hopeful that maybe they will get it. But because I do think this is one of San Marino's most competent entries in
Yeah.
terms of song. So it would kind of kill me for this one not to go through in that sense. But at the same time, it's also a very strong semi. But we've got Italy voting, so like they do have that for them. We even like Malta loves the Italians, like etc. So
Wait, who's voting in the
oh
first one? Who's voting in the
oh
second?
Spain and Italy are voting in this one.
Oh, I
Why
mean,
did I
they're
say Italy?
obviously
I was
getting
thinking they were in Italy, but
they're
anyways.
getting 12 points from Spain. So
Yeah, that's true. So and 12
I
points makes a big difference in a
fuck
semi.
yeah, yeah. Uh um I have this as a borderline qualifier.
Yeah.
Um yeah, I am feeling maybe a bit bullish on this one. I do think it's going to be something that people because it is a really, really accessible pop rock song.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, that's the thing. Because that's why I was like, oh, well, Norway kind of has rock to it, but this one is way more accessible. This is one that everybody like people who don't like rock will enjoy this. Um, I agree. Well, then we move to Georgia, 𝗬𝗏𝘅𝘆 Firefighter. I feel like this one's very borderline. I think her live is very strong, but I think that, Georgia's live was good last year too. She was a great singer. But this one's got the nonsensical lyrics in it again. We're, kind of coming to realize. And I'm worried about, well, okay, here's the thing. Like for me as an artistic like drag queen, right? Like I love what Georgia brings because they always go all out. They always be doing the most when it comes to their staging and like their visuals. But sometimes I have to remember that like a lot of people don't really love that. Like for a lot of people, they don't really want to see all that. But and I think what's wrong in my mind after we did our video where we talked about it was when you said her choreo looks very clunky. It looks like she's not a dancer. It looks like she's a person that is learning these steps and that like she's going through the motions and thinking too much about dancing. And the more and after you, I didn't notice until after you said it. And now every time I see it, I see it. Um, so I think it's borderline, more of a borderline qualifier. I think it does have a chance, but Georgia doesn't have a good streak of qualifying as well. And I don't feel like this song is strong enough to really like, you know, pull it over.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's borderline likely to not qualify. And like, not that they're necessarily like the same kind of song, but like another female soloist who I think is a borderline to qualify is 𝗫𝗏𝗄𝗅, where that song is like it's a lot more
Yes.
memorable. It's a lot catchier. I think the dancing is going to be much better, which of course impacts how well you can sing. If you're
Hmm.
good at singing and dancing at the same time, or if you're maybe not as good. Um, so I don't think this one has a great shot, personally.
Yeah, and realistically, looking at the fact that she's coming after 𝗫𝗏𝗄𝗅, she's coming after Kayleen, she's coming after Marina Sati, who I don't know how much choreo Marina is going to have, but we obviously know Sarah and Kayleen are going to have a lot of choreo. So
Hmm.
we are going to see those two be dancing the fuck, like they're going to kill the choreo. We know that that's
Yeah.
going to be how it goes. And so, you know, sometimes going late is good to be in people's memories, but sometimes going late is not the best if you're then being compared to everything that was seen before. And if you're not as good as them, then you might just be like, oh well, we just watched two other girls sing great and dance the fuck out of that stage. And then we saw you do some mid choreography, which is not going to be nearly as impressive if we just watched 𝗂𝗏 and 𝗏𝘅𝘅𝘆 get flipped 50 times, you
Yeah.
know, then it's like, okay, a little twerk on the stage is not going to be as impressive after seeing all of that. So, yeah. Well, then we have Belgium. Musti, before the party's over. One thing I have to say that I've been thinking and I've just been saving to say this till we got to the song was that I did this little Bieber flip with my hair because I truly, as you guys know, I'm having struggles with my hair. And all I have been thinking this whole time is I am giving Belgium 2013 waiting for a bitter pill
Oh my God.
because love kills over and over, and he had this little Bieber cut. That's what I'm
Hmm.
giving today. So I just was waiting till we got to Belgium to mention that. um because I literally been thinking because I watched that clip like earlier today, and I've just been thinking it this whole time we've been filming. um but I think this song has no. Oh, okay. Wait. I think this song, the more I've seen it be performed live, I'm really thinking this one, I have it as a shock non-qualifier, but in the sense that you were like, oh, I feel like um 𝗂𝗏 is a sure non-qualifier. That's low-key how I feel about this one. Because
Hmm.
like it's a shock non-qualifier because it's so high in the odds. But my thing is I've never understood why it's so high in the odds. And the
Hmm.
more I've seen it live, the more I've been confirmed that it should not even be in that final at this point. I think that Musti has not an ounce of charisma when he performs. It's something very weird because he's very charismatic. He's very sweet. I mean, I watched him on Drag Race Belgique. He's like lovely. I don't know what happens when he performs. I think he's just trying to be, he's being really way too.
He's trying too hard.
Yeah, like it's really off-putting. And again, like I am such a broken record when it comes to this, but truly those lyrics at the end that he repeats for almost a minute straight.
Hmm.
And I just watched his acoustic version of this. Oh my God. Oh my God. Go and watch that and that will really make you realize how long he's just repeating one thing over and over again.
Hmm.
When you're hearing it slowed down, acoustic broken down, and there's no you know, I got a soul on fire. He's just saying, before the party is over. No backing choir, girl. And I
Yeah,
think
that
people are
sounds
gonna
awful.
notice that. It's really I really don't see it in the cards for Belgique. So
Yeah, I have this as surefire non-qualifier and kind of the same reasoning too with Austria. Like, okay, first time I heard it, I thought like, oh, I thought like, yeah, it was good. Like, okay, I there's something, maybe there's something here. But I, for both Austria and for this, I experienced them on their own without anything else happening around them. And on their own, it was like, okay. But when you
mhm.
put it like in the context of a bunch of other songs, it does not cut it.
Yeah.
And like you said, you had a problem with 𝗂𝗏's like whatever dance. I can't stand when he's performing, and I think it's during the before the party is over,
And
and he kind of like swings his
yes,
arm really big, like a
yes.
lasso. So what that reminds me of, that movement, and it doesn't help that he tends to perform this shirtless, is when you're at like a football game and there's like a super fucking drunk frat guy and
Mm.
he takes off his shirt and he starts swinging his shirt to get the crowd going.
Oh
That's
my
what he
God.
looks like to me. And
Yeah.
it's not good. The
And
whole vibe is off.
something, okay, so something about you saying that makes me chuckle because it made me kind of think about like what I see whenever I see him doing that. And it's weird because he's literally such a gay. Like he is so gay and not this at all. But I just think of like an aggressive straight white man that like is like getting so passionate and about whatever and he starts hitting walls. That's what I'm
Oh my
imagining
God.
when he's like slamming his arm like that.
A
And I'm
drywall
like,
puncher.
you know, like, that's all I can think of.
See, I
Yeah.
haven't seen anything like interview wise. I don't know anything about him personally. So I'm actually like a little bit gagged to hear that he's gay. But I guess maybe because like you said, he's giving fucking straight vibes with this whole
Okay,
performance.
that's fair. But what? Like, girl, but he does. But it's just like, okay, so like obviously my context of knowing 𝗬𝘅𝘅 is from being a drag race judge. So like,
Right, and I don't know him from that at
and
all. I
like
only
not
know
just
him
a
from
guest
like this
judge,
song.
like an actual
An
permanent
actual judge.
judge on the panel. So like it's like, girl, no, no, he's coming up there with like bright blue eyeshadow every single week and like mesh shirts. But you know what? I've learned from my peers in the Eurovision press world that a mesh shirt in Europe does not equal a gay. So
What?
I must, you know.
Wow. Mesh shirt is like it's either gay or you're like actually like playing like tag football and you're wearing one of those pennies that they give you in gym
That's what I'm
class.
saying. But you know what? We all must change the way we see things
What are
these
they gonna say
days.
next? Jock straps aren't gay?
Oh my God. Well, maybe Musti will come out in that. Maybe then I'll give a vote. But anyways, we move on to Estonia. Vist minust I pull up the drug song. Nendest. Um, I think this is a surefire qualifier. I truly, in my heart of hearts, believe that this is the 𝗬𝗏𝘆 of the
Of
season.
course, yeah.
You know, I really do believe this is the one everybody's sleeping on, but I'm telling you, once we get there on that damn stage, once we get that crowd in there, ooh, this is gonna be the one. This is gonna be the one.
Yeah, it is so fucking obvious. This song is absolutely a televote song. It's
Hmm.
coming towards the end of the semifinal after some pretty fucking underwhelming songs, two
Yeah.
underwhelming songs in a row.
Hmm.
It is absolutely qualifying. At the final, it's going to come top five televote.
Hmm.
And juries will like it too at the final, I
I
think.
hope so. I hope so. Yeah. I'm gonna need bitches to start getting on board because I'm telling you,
Mhm.
all the Estonia shame, the shame towards Estonia lovers needs to stop. I'm here to condemn. Um, then we have 𝗥𝗏𝘆, Norway, 𝗲𝗏𝘆. I think that this is a sure qualifier. I think that this one is so different than everything else. It's coming close to the end. This one is one that really grabs you in the moment, and you will be left kind of low-key speechless after this. The amount of power and intensity and emotion that comes out of this performer is honestly unlike anything I've seen from a performer in a long time. It's just, it's truly, it feels like uh what's the word? Like an experience that it's just something out of this world. So I think that this one will go through. It's so unique to everything else. It's got those rock elements too that I think a lot of people will appreciate. Vocals are flawless from this one. They're given season, they're given, they know what they're doing, and they're given no worries.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's gonna qualify. It'd be really surprising if it didn't qualify because also like they're really good performers
Mhm.
and on the big stage, I think they're gonna do something really good. And I know that Norway really is fucking hungry right now to do well. So
Mhm.
I think it's gonna do pretty good.
Yeah. And last to perform will be none other than our Father who
Mm.
art in heaven, Joost Klein, Europapa, Netherlands. I am repping for I'm repping for Joost. I got my I Heart Joost Klein shirt that I made myself. I use the heart, but although it's just like a copy template. So, but
Yeah.
I graphic design is my passion to this and use the heart from the Friesland
Brazilian flag.
flag.
Yeah, that's so nice.
So, and also, I just have to say, Joost Klein has touched me in so many ways. Unfortunately, not the way that I'd like him to, but in one way, I did get a crazy frog tattoo which if you are listening, you will not see, but you can head over to my Instagram because there will be posts with it by the time
I
this
wish
episode
they
comes out.
were watching though, because the awkward way you just maneuvered your arm to show
But
the
it's in a
fucking
weird
tattoo. It
placement.
is in a weird place to be able to show it like on your
Like I could
elbow
do it.
like that. Yeah, it's really, it's
No.
because then he's upside
Yeah.
down. It's a
So
really hard
then,
one to.
so there he is, the crazy frog himself. So if you don't know, I'll put up in on the Patreon, you'll see is a side by side of the picture that 𝗤𝗍𝘆 took and my picture because he has this tattoo of Crazy Frog in the exact same spot that I have it. And that might be crazy, but for me, I did grow up on Crazy Frog. So to me, I just saw him having that tattoo and I was like, "Oh, well, I should get that tattoo because I grew up on Crazy Frog. I think that's a great idea for a tattoo. It fits the vibe of my other tattoos. And I love 𝗤𝗍𝘆, so it helps. And maybe I'm not at Eurovision this year, so this will be my Eurovision tattoo of this year. But anyways, on
Yeah, you
to
know what's funny though about the fact that it is Crazy Frog and that he's in Eurovision is it's like a melding of so many things for me where like
mm,
when I was going to Poland as a kid, when I got into Eurovision in like the early 2000s, that was right around the time that Crazy Frog
yeah.
was like the every other fucking commercial on TV in Poland when I was going there was a cell phone ringtone thing. And it was always Crazy Frog. So like my really early ideas of what Europe is Eurovision and fucking Crazy Frog. And now
That's
we
so
have
crazy.
𝗤𝗍𝘆 with 𝗤𝗄𝘆, which for me like feels like biographical for me. Like there's
Mm.
so many things that I relate to with it. And then like his like Crazy Frog tattoo. And I guess it really just is we're like kind of close to this, like we're the same generation and
Hmm.
like we came up on the same stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I just love that. Like it's so many perfect things for me. And I love this song.
That's so wild because I didn't really. It's weird to think that that is was something that transcended continents in that way. Because like so many things are like just experiences for Europeans, just experiences for Americans. Like for me, I watch that a lot on Disney Channel. And I remember there would always be ads, or maybe not Disney, maybe Nickelodeon, one of those. Um, that's cool that we all had that experience. I think Yost
Oh,
Klein,
it literally Crazy Frog came out in 2003.
he's from
My first
Sweden.
from Sweden. My first Eurovision was 2004 because this is my 20-year
Oh,
anniversary. So I truly started watching this shit right around the time that Crazy Frog was
yeah.
big.
Oh my God. Well, Yost Klein, he's going through. And I think
Yeah.
that this is to me, so for me, because I know you said Greece, but for me, this is the one I feel like is winner Eurovision. I just really like in the fantasy of my brain, I don't see him not winning.
Hmm.
Um, I just feel like this is gonna touch so many people's hearts. This has an emotional aspect to it that he proved in his performance at the pre-parties that he is probably likely to be including that kind of ending bit. So I think that it's gonna
Hmm.
this is like this especially as a closer is just like such a round off to Eurovision in general. I just feel
Yeah.
like this one is the one that just feels to me Eurovision winner. Greece feels like, oh, that's too good for Eurovision, it won't win sense for me. Whereas this one just feels like it checks all the boxes to win Eurovision. So obviously, prediction wise, this one's going through. But I really, really just feel it in my heart of hearts that this will win.
Yeah. I mean, I think it does have the possibility to. Here's the thing is I don't actually want the Netherlands or Greece to win.
Why?
I because this edition is tainted.
Oh, yeah.
And I would love to see like France win
Girl, shut the
because
fuck up.
I would love to see France win because who gives a fuck?
No.
And they can go and they can host another fucking thing in their country and then
No.
I won't feel bad about missing it next year.
But why would you have to miss it next year?
Well, because they probably are gonna have countries in it where I'm not. I don't know if I'll
Yeah.
ever go to Eurovision again.
Yeah, I guess that's true. But I just
I'm
feel
a
like
national
I
final girly from now on.
I get you. I feel like for me, with regards to that whole vibe and feeling, I need like a Netherlands. I need a Greece. I need my favorite to win because at least that will be a perfect ending to
Mm,
a sucky season in that
yeah.
sense. Um, and hope that that sets the tone for next year, as opposed to setting the tone for next year for failure. Because if fucking
Right.
France won, girl, kill me now. Kill me now. But finally, I did have a section on here for entries in the final, so we could just touch on them. Now, of course,
Mm,
we're not going to talk about their qualification rate, but I do have different sections for them. So as you can see, I've created this beautiful spreadsheet for all of this. So for them, we have like, I kind of have like, oh, top five slash potential winner, top 10, low, mid, and bottom five with like ranges.
mm.
But so we can go through. I guess let's start with Sweden because Sweden has their running order already.
Oh,
Sweden is,
don't they go first?
they are opening the fucking show. So at first, I thought honestly, Sweden could low-key be getting a top five, like France did whenever they hosted last. I think they're getting top 10. I think that they are such solid performers. I think everybody is gonna love like the cute young boy twins that have
Hmm.
great vocals. It's a solid song. It's unique enough. It's got like an EDM aspect to it, which will make it stand out amongst all the other pop songs. I think that they're strapped for top 10 and they're Sweden. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that.
yeah. Well, then we have, I'll just go in alphabetical order now. If we have France, Mon Amour, Slimane. I think this is going to be like, since we can't do shock and cues with these ones, this one's going
Hmm.
to be a shock low because I really don't see this one passing out of like the low mid 17 to 21. Like, because the thing is also like the curse of being big fiver is like all those ones that get through are going to be like amazing. Like they
Yeah.
have found their audience. They have people that have now paid money to vote for them that are fans of those entries, and they've got that going for them. With France, I think they're really trying hard to be something that they maybe had in the past with Voila. I think they're trying to do all of that, but I don't think that they are gonna really actually appeal to people in the way that people are expecting them to. I guess the juries might push this up, but I do hold firm on the fact that the juries don't necessarily all people think juries are like only rewarding vocals, but
Hmm.
that's not what the juries are there for. They're also going to be looking at like how radio friendly is this song? How commercial is this song? I don't think this song necessarily has that. And I think if he's doing all his showboating vocal techniques, I think that that will turn off some people for voting.
Yeah, I think this will be kind of like with Lazada as well, where it's
Hmm.
like just really underwhelming. And like you said with, Voila, that song, I actually really don't like that song
Hmm.
personally, but a lot of people obviously did because it came what, third. The thing is about that song in particular is she was so cute
Hmm.
and the staging was so cool and it at least was like I don't know, there was something so like cinematic and different
Yeah.
about it, where it like felt really nice and really original while still being extremely over the top French. And like last year they went for something extremely French, but not really special. This year they
Hmm.
went with something extremely French, but not really special. And I think like with Voila, it wasn't that the song was super like Frenchy, it's that it was special. And I
Hmm.
don't think that this one is.
Yeah.
So I agree
I,
that it's not going to stick for people.
I think people are expecting this to have a Marco Mengoni like result,
No.
and in this, I mean, he just does not have the charisma that Marco Mengoni has. He doesn't have, and that song was just something that felt like just a classic, beautiful heart. heartwarming Italian ballad from a just gorgeous, muscular, the most beautiful, striking eyes Italian
Hmm.
man. Um, this one doesn't have that. Um, so then we have Germany. And as much as it pains me to say, because I do really like the song, I do think this is getting bottom five. I do not think this is getting last. I do
What do
not.
you think will be last?
Well, okay, actually, maybe that's kind of
Well,
hard because
we don't know who's
be
qualifying, so yeah,
I think
it's
Spain
hard.
is getting last.
Ooh.
I think Spain's getting last. I think maybe second to last could be in store for Germany. I think it's very hard for a Big Five country not to come last, just given the fact that they automatically qualify. Like all those other people have, we know people will be voting for those because they
Hmm.
already
Right.
did enough to bring them through. So, I think Spain for me, in my opinion, is locked for last because I think that this one might even get some jury, but I don't see Spain getting that.
Yeah. Oh, that sucks though, because I do really love Spain.
I know you do. Well, we could talk about Spain now because as much as I like Spain too, but I do think that this one's not going to actually have the public appeal to it that made like I think this one's more so made for Spanish fans or super fans that have the time to
Hmm.
look into it to understand it. I don't think people are going to necessarily understand what fora means, what the song is about. Why are there naked men on stage? Maybe we're going to stage it in a way that does tell that story more, but I don't know if we necessarily got that from what we've seen so far. We know, like, okay, I'm sorry to say, her vocals are not going to be anything impressive slash good. And Spain, I just think Spain did so well last year and got such a bad result that I'm just like, there's no way this is placing higher than Spain last year.
That's a good point. I cannot see this doing better than um Blanca Paloma did,
Yeah.
at least with the
Um,
juries.
yeah, exactly. Like this one doesn't have that thing that's going to pull it over. Like it doesn't have really jury appeal, and I don't know if it has international televote appeal.
Hmm.
Um, but then we have Italy, Lanoia, Angelina Mango. This one's a potential winner.
Yeah.
It's the least exciting of the potential winners, but this one is a potential winner. And low key, I've said this before, I feel like that is why it feels like even more of a potential winner because all the other ones are like really crazy, like in their own way. And this one feels like, well, this could make sense to be the winner out of all of them because it's just solid, pretty girl, great pop song. You know, it's going to do great with juries. It's going to do great with televote. Everybody's going to love this. So this might be the thing that just, does well in all categories, which puts it on top.
Yeah.
But I
That
think
is the
top
key,
five is
right? To
lock.
do well in both.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I guess that is the worry with some of the other favorites right now. And then lastly we have the UK. Dizzy, Ollie Alexander. I think this one is getting a similar result to Mae Muller. I think this is getting bottom half. I think this is a good pop song, but I don't see this one standing out once we get all those semifinal qualifiers.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. We're totally in agreement with this one.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
maybe the jury would like this because this is one of the most radio friendly songs this year. Commercial potential.
mhm.
But it all comes down to how well he performs it. But I'm seeing bottom of the scoreboard for the
Yeah,
UK.
it's kind of funny because I feel like this year we're gonna have a lot of feelings of like deja vu. Like I already do. Serbia second, Albania second. You know what I mean? Like that. I feel like there's a lot of things that just like feel like France is gonna be an underwhelming result. Germany is gonna come in the bottom. Spain is gonna not do well. UK is gonna not do well. Sweden is gonna do great. Italy is gonna do great. Like it just doesn't it just kind of like I feel like the big five this year feel extremely predictable, whereas the
Hmm.
rest of the contest is like kind of an open field, but this is
Yeah.
like um I don't know. I don't know. I feel like the big five need to like step it up.
Yeah, it's hard because I do actually think these are all pretty good, but I don't know. They're not taking enough risks for me. I just feel
Yeah.
like if you're an automatic qualifier, why not take those risks?
Yeah, I
Because
agree.
really, that is how you win. That's how you win,
Hmm.
is by taking risks. Unless you're Italy. Then you just win by being solid,
Yeah.
amazing all the time.
What did Italy
Yeah.
send last year? I don't know why I can't
Marco
remember.
Mengoni.
Oh yeah, duh. Oh my God, we literally were
uh,
talking about.
I know. I mean, and they did great. So I could really see it for Italy. I'm really feeling like I'm going to be back in Italy. I
Mm.
want to be back in Turin. I was just talking about Airbnb hosts today because they're going to an Angelina Mango concert, and they were making me jealous.
Oh, did you like follow them on Insta or something
Yeah, well, we
afterwards?
may
Like,
remember like I went to like their vacation to they took me to their vacation to Monaco. I became great
wait,
friends with
really? Oh
them.
my God, I did not know about that.
Yes. Yes. Oh my
Wow.
God. Well, because they her sons, so the Airbnb host is the mom. Her sons picked me up. Her son and his best friend picked me up from the airport, took me to my Airbnb, which was a lovely thing for them to do. And then they just like showed me around the city. They took me on tours all around the city, like
Oh my
whole day
God.
tours, like from morning. And then they invited me to go on their trip to Monaco. And like it was really like that's I just want to go back to Turin to see them again and see all my friends. Like I made so many friends in Italy. It's like ridiculous. I should really be
That's so
looking into
cute.
going to college there. The only thing was Turin was really hard to navigate as a non-Italian speaker.
Mm.
Um because it's not as touristy as other Italian cities. So that's the only thing holding me back. But I was like, I made so many friends there. It was like really ridiculous. Um, but yeah. So that is our predictions. Now, of course, we don't have anything about the live performances, so I don't know. Me and Renata got to figure out what we're doing for that Eurovision week because this gonna be a struggle. Um,
Yeah.
but I'm very excited for Eurovision week to come to have rehearsals. I'm low key in this weird feeling of I might be ignoring the rehearsals. I don't really know, so we shall see. Um, but I don't know. I'm excited for Eurovision week to begin. It's going to basically be starting once. Oh yeah, because once this airs, I'm going to be starting my break from work. So I will be going on
Mm.
vacation to prepare for Eurovision, even though I'm not going. So once this airs, it's going to be Eurovision season will be amping up. Rehearsals will be starting. Everybody will go and be in the city. It's going to be crazy. Um, so yeah, make sure, so you don't miss out on any of our coverage of that, as well as like all the videos I'll be posting because I know there's been a drought on the Maxxy Rainbow channel, but there will be videos. Trust to believe. Y'all know Eurovision week. Suddenly I'll just post 50 videos at once. So trust to believe those will be coming out. I have many a plan. So make sure you subscribe to my channel, Maxxy Rainbow ESC.
And I am Renata at 𝗍𝗍𝘅𝘆.
Make sure you leave in the comments down below who you think will be qualifying from semifinal one and semifinal two. And yeah, guys, we will see you all next week. Goodbye.